Hello there, ImproveNation! We're grateful for your unwavering loyalty to our channel. Today, we'll embark on an enlightening journey as we revisit Kelsang Neyma's captivating 2014 TED Talk. Remember the one that's been viewed nearly 40 million times? Yes, that's the one. It's a profound exploration of happiness and the power of the mind. We believe it's worth a second look and a deeper discussion. So without further ado, let us dive deep into the mind and happiness as taught by Kelsang Neyma. Kelsang Neyma begins her talk by engaging us in a happiness inquiry. She starts with simple yet intriguing questions about our current state of happiness. She asks us to reflect on why we might be having a good or bad day. What makes this day different from the rest? She challenges. She then delves deeper, urging us to question the fundamental nature of our happiness. What does it mean to be truly happy? She ponders. Is it a fleeting moment of joy, or a deeper, more profound state of contentment? She argues that it's the latter, and that such a state is something we all universally desire. Neyma emphasizes that happiness, this profound state of contentment, is not just a nice-to-have, but a critical component of a fulfilling life. She argues that our pursuit of happiness is not simply a product of our modern consumer-driven world, but a universal human endeavor that has been at the heart of our existence since time immemorial. She encourages us to reflect upon these questions, not for the sake of philosophical musing, but to make us aware of our own perceptions and attitudes towards happiness. She believes that by understanding our own views on happiness, we can start to unravel the complexities of this seemingly elusive state. And that's the essence of happiness inquiry, a simple yet profound understanding of how we perceive happiness. As we continue to explore Neyma's insights, let's keep these questions in mind. After all, the quest for happiness begins with understanding what it means to us. Moving on, Kelsang Neyma highlights the external influences on our happiness. Often, we tether our joy to outside conditions and circumstances. Imagine your mind as a balloon in the wind, swaying and bobbing with each gust. One moment, you're riding high on a gentle breeze. The next, you're being buffeted by a storm. This is what happens when your happiness is tied to external factors. It becomes as unpredictable as the weather. Consider this. How many times have you found your mood swaying with the news cycle? Or how often has your joy been tied to an event, a purchase, or even another person? These are all external factors, things outside of our control. And when we tether our happiness to them, we give them power over our emotional state. Kelsang Neyma likens this to a balloon in the wind. The balloon has no control over where it goes or how it moves. It's at the mercy of the forces around it. Now think of that balloon as your happiness. When it's tied to external factors, it's just as unpredictable and unstable. But why do we do this? Why do we give external factors such a stronghold over our happiness? Perhaps it's because it's easier. It's easier to attribute our joy to a sunny day than to delve into the complexities of our mind. It's simpler to blame our unhappiness on a traffic jam than to examine our reactions and emotions. But as Kelsang Neyma points out, this instability is a sign. It's a sign that we need to shift our perspective. Instead of looking outside for happiness, we should be looking within. Only then can we find a sense of joy that is not dependent on the whims of the world around us. It's clear that relying on external circumstances for happiness is like a balloon in the wind, unstable and unpredictable. Next, Kelsang Neyma advises us to stop outsourcing our happiness. Have you ever noticed that we sometimes attribute our joy and sorrows to external conditions? Perhaps we tell ourselves that we'll be happy when we get that promotion, find the perfect partner, or buy a dream house. Essentially, we're outsourcing our happiness, placing it in the hands of circumstances and people we can't control. Kelsang Neyma encourages us to take a different approach. She advocates for taking responsibility for our personal happiness. This doesn't mean we shouldn't strive for success or seek companionship, but we should avoid attributing our happiness solely to these external factors. We shouldn't let our joy be swayed by the winds of circumstances, like a balloon tossed about in a storm. You see, when our happiness is dependent on external conditions, it becomes unstable, It's susceptible to the whims and changes of the world around us. We become like a ship tossed on the sea, at the mercy of the waves and winds of life. But what if we could find a source of joy that's not so easily shaken? Kelsang Neyma suggests that we need to shift the source of our joy from the external to the internal. Instead of blaming others for our unhappiness, we should internalize the source of our joy. This means looking within ourselves, finding contentment and satisfaction in who we are and what we have right now. She argues that stable happiness requires this shift from external dependency to an internal source. It requires us to cultivate a sense of inner peace, a state of mind that remains unperturbed despite external circumstances. It's about finding joy in our journey, no matter the twists and turns it takes. It's about understanding that happiness isn't something we chase or obtain from the outside world. It's something we cultivate within ourselves. It's a state of mind, a perspective, a choice. So the key to stable happiness lies within us, not outside. Let's remember that the next time we feel our joy being swayed by the winds of life, let's remember that we have the power to cultivate our own happiness, irrespective of the circumstances around us. Because at the end of the day, happiness truly is all in our mind. Now, let's explore Kelsang Neyma's ideas on cultivating inner peace. Stepping into this segment, it's essential to remember that happiness and unhappiness are states of mind, not determined by external factors. This statement might seem like a simple one, but when you delve deeper, it's a profound truth that can transform your life. Imagine holding the reins of your happiness, steering it in the direction you want, and not letting external circumstances dictate your state of mind. Sounds empowering, doesn't it? That's precisely what Kelsang Neyma suggests. She proposes that we actively cultivate a source of inner peace and happiness within our own minds. It's like planting a seed within ourselves, nurturing it and watching it grow into a tree that provides shade and fruits, irrespective of the changing seasons. This tree, this source of inner peace, is what leads to happiness, regardless of what's happening around us. But how do we cultivate this inner peace? It's a process that requires introspection, self-awareness, and most importantly, acceptance. Acceptance of our flaws, our strengths, our emotions, and our thoughts. It's about understanding that we are not defined by our circumstances, but by how we choose to react to them. This process might seem challenging, and it is, but it's not impossible. It's a journey that starts with a single step, the step of acknowledging that our happiness lies within us. Once we take this step, we can work towards developing a mindset that stays tranquil amidst the chaos, that remains joyful in the face of adversity. Remember, cultivating inner peace doesn't mean that you won't face obstacles or have bad days. It means that you'll be better equipped to handle them, to maintain your calm, and to find happiness even in those moments. Hence, a peaceful state of mind is the real source of happiness. It's like a wellspring, always available, always accessible, as long as we're willing to dive deep within ourselves. So, let's embark on this journey of cultivating inner peace, of discovering our true source of happiness. After all, as Kelsang Neyma reminds us, happiness is all in your mind. Finally, Kelsang Neyma introduces us to the role of meditation in cultivating inner peace. Meditation, she explains, is not just a practice, but a powerful tool. It's a tool that helps us focus on a positive, peaceful state of mind, irrespective of what's happening in the world around us. So, what is meditation really? At its core, meditation is the art of quieting our minds, of letting go of the chaos and noise of the outside world, and focusing on the peace and tranquility within us. It's about finding that stillness, that calm center in the midst of the storm. Meditation is not about escaping reality, but rather about embracing it fully, with a peaceful and serene mind. It's about observing our thoughts, feelings, and emotions without judgment, allowing them to come and go, without letting them control us. Kelsang Neyma suggests that through meditation, we can learn to be the masters of our minds, rather than being at the mercy of our thoughts and emotions. By training our minds to stay focused and calm, we can cultivate a state of inner peace that remains undisturbed, no matter what life throws at us. Meditation, she explains, is not a quick fix or a magic solution. It's a journey, a process that requires time, patience, and dedication. It's about making a conscious choice every day to sit in silence, to focus on our breath, and to embrace the peace within us. But the rewards of this practice are immense. By meditating regularly, we can tap into a deep well of inner peace and happiness that is independent of external circumstances or conditions. We can learn to be happy, not because of what we have or what's happening around us, but because of the peace and tranquility within us. So, by practicing meditation, we can tap into our potential for inner peace and happiness. It's a journey worth embarking on, a journey towards lasting happiness and inner peace. Remember, happiness is not out there, but in here, within us, waiting to be discovered through the power of meditation. In conclusion, Jen Kelsang Neyma's teachings offer us a different perspective on happiness. She urges us to see happiness not as a product of external circumstances, but as a state of mind, cultivated from within. By taking responsibility for our happiness and not outsourcing it, we can achieve a stable and lasting joy. Through meditation, we can cultivate this inner peace and happiness, applying it to every facet of our lives. Remember, happiness is not out there, it's in your mind. Keep exploring, keep improving, ImproveNation.